Okay, let's see what we're working with here. It's about 3 hours. Ooh, that's looking nice. Got some fat rendering down. Crust is looking good. Bottom looks a little darker, but not too bad. Definitely darker toward the flat. Well, it's 1:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. Might as well do part 3 of the We Got a Smoker series. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tubby Time. Thank you for joining in today. And this is the long-awaited episode 3 of, like I said, the We Got a Smoker series. This is where we actually get to cook something. We did the accessories, we did the mods, we did the cleaning, we did the seasoning. If you haven't checked those videos out, please check them out. I will put a link here somewhere. But today we're actually cooking. And I don't know what to do. I'm so excited and thrilled to be filming this. This is something I've been waiting for a while, and something I am most likely going to screw up big time, but we'll see how things work. So the plan is we have allotted about 20 hours to cook this piece of meat that we're about to get out. It could take 12 hours, it could take 18, it could take 24. No clue, because I have no idea what I'm doing. First disclaimer, and once again, we're still screwing with these microphones, so if the audio is terrible, that's why. So, without further ado, let's see what we are working with today. Oh my God. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, she thick. Boy. That's a thick-ass girl. And this is a thick-ass boy. Isn't this thing beautiful? It's so cool. All right, we have a 20-pound prime brisket, full brisket. Got this the other day for a steal, $4.99 a pound for our area. That's really good, but it's a prime brisket. It is actually 20.71 pounds. I don't know why I bought this. I was too lazy to go to Costco and get like a normal size brisket, so I went down the street to the butcher. And this is what they gave me. So we are going to try to not screw this up and waste $100. It's going to be a long process. So what we're going to do in this video is I am going to open this up, trim this down. As you can see, I have my half-ass cutting boards here with towels because it's probably going to be a mess. I'm not going to film too much of me trimming it. We're just going to sort of go over the things I'm looking at and that I'm going to take off after we open it up. And we're going to weigh that out, see what we're working with. Like I said, this could take 20 hours, 24 hours, 18, 12. I'm not sure. It's going to be a process, and this is my first time doing this, so I have no idea. We're going to season beautifully, get it on the smoker, get our fire started. Well, get our fire started, then get it on the smoker. I'm really excited, so I'm talking a mile a minute. And just sit back and wait. So let's get into it. So I'm going to glove my left hand so I can use the knife in my right. I have a bowl here, and this is for putting the whatever I cut off into this. I want to weigh this when I'm done, and I actually have 2 bowls, so I can zero out the scale. And we're going to see, maybe that'll give us a better idea of what we're actually going to be working with for time. If you didn't just see what I did, yeah, I pulled this out of the freezer, and the reason was I had Kayla put this in the freezer an hour before I got home from work, so it'd be cool as possible. You know, a cool piece of meat is always better than working with a warm piece of meat. And especially when we're going to be using this knife, we don't want the fat or anything to slip through. I'm going to try my best not to cut myself. I'm just using one of our, I don't want to say crappy knives because it's not a crappy knife. It's actually a really nice knife. This thing is heavy as hell. Very hard to work with. And there's not much juice that's free flowing right now because it was frozen. So looking at it here, it's a little frozen. Not so much on the fat side. Oh wait, that's the fat side. Duh. So yeah, on the fat side, it's a little bit frozen. You got a big chunk of fat here. So it is a pretty fatty piece. I see right here, I just stuck my fingers in. Probably looks like there was a hook in there at one point. All right, so we're gonna try to get this down to about 1/4 inch thickness of fat all around. Shouldn't be too hard, I hope. So I'm gonna cut this up a little bit and we'll come back to you and see what we're working with. I'm not gonna show cutting on camera because I really wanna take my time. I don't think you guys need to see me doing that. And once I get good at this, I will make a separate video of actually butchering beef, so. What are you doing? It took you way too long to do. So we are just about at the level I want to be at, I think. I lied. I said we were going to take off about 2 pounds. That's a few more than 2 pounds. I'm sweating my ass off. It's hot in this house, but it's okay. One thing I want to bring your attention to, one thing I took off, is this whole piece right here. And the reason is it was sitting here, and it's pretty thin. If I were to cut the fat off that, which is right there, I mean, it's basically like a fat layer, and wasn't going to render very well. Probably burn. But I think we're good. There are some areas that are a bit thicker, and especially over on this side, this has become a complete mess. I don't know what to do with this over here. I don't know if that's going to render out, but I do want to leave an extra fat layer on there just because it is where the heat's going to be going. So we'll see. Didn't do too much. There was some silver skin on the back. Didn't do too much with that. But yeah, I'm starting to hit the actual meat. Now, one thing I did realize is this whole area, this is sort of surprising to me, this whole area over here was very frozen when we begun. So I actually started over here. This area was not really frozen at all. So this fat is extremely difficult to work with. I'm trying not to cut myself or kill myself in any way possible. There's raw meat crap all over our counter, and I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. All right. I'm going to see how this turns out. I did my best. I think we took off a good amount of meat. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. A good amount of fat. Everything feels pretty good. So let's weigh out what we have. Let me zero this bowl out. Bowl is 9.5 ounces. 4 pounds, 6.9 ounces. Nice. Yeah, so we took off quite a bit. So going by those numbers, I would say what we're looking for is about a 16-hour cook time. So that brings us, if we start this bad boy around 3 o'clock, which it might be a little later than that, I'll start it, maybe around 4. That gets us to, yeah, like 7 p.m. 8 p.m. today, where we'll be done. One more thing I wanted to point out was, I just put it on my countertop now because I don't care. That was a mess, and I'm over it. There's that fat section underneath there, and I didn't know what to do with that. I tried to get it out of the way as best as possible, but who the hell knows at this point? So I'm doing a very simple rub, kosher salt, and coarse ground black pepper. I wanted to keep this as simple as possible for my first time, and I didn't want to mix anything just because I want to see how much salt I put on there. There's some pieces I'm a little still concerned about, but we will see. I don't know. Shouldn't be too bad. All right, so just going across. The shaker sucks. Trying to be as even as possible. Trying to make sure I'm getting all sides here. Kayla is beyond impressed at my seasoning ability. How do you feel about this big slab of meat on our countertop? Something hot. Okay, pepper time. I'm going to go a little bit heavy here. Surprised you haven't seen any comment about like, you're going to save some for the brisket, or you getting it all on the countertop? This pepper smells really, really good. I'm still concerned about this fat. I don't know if that's gonna... This thing turns out shitty. I swear to God. I'm so mad. So it's a good thing I bought the most expensive one I could find. All right, ladies and gents, I'm obsessed with slapping this thing. I love it. All right, everything's done. We're gonna let this sit on our countertop in the open because we're gonna make some food, and then we're gonna start our fire, and we're just gonna let the seasoning sort of penetrate everything, and then we'll be back outside. All right, here we are finally. It's been about an hour. This has been sitting, as you see, it's firm, or it's loosened up a lot. Lift this up. Oops. And we are gonna cook this. I'm gonna do fat side up, I believe. All right, so we are going to leave that on there. It's looking like a snack. And we're going to close this down. We're going to try to maintain about as you see, I lost some degrees there. We're trying to maintain about 250-ish or so. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a water pan in this little serving tray thing right over the firebox, or right in the firebox, I should say. And that'll ensure that the moisture is getting to the brisket and not drying it out. And now we wait. I'm going to give it about 3 hours. Just maintain our fire, keep the lid closed. Once again, we're maintaining about 250, or trying to. And then we will go from there and see where we're at. So we're about an hour and a half in. 5 right now, 5 a.m. I just wanted to check in and talk about some of the things I have done or screwed up or have observed in this process so far. So the first thing I would say, I would definitely start the fire next time before I do anything with the meat. The fire took way longer to burn clean than I thought. So I think next time I will definitely put the charcoal down and let a good bed of coals burn the fire dirty for a little bit just to get a nice coal bed going, and then I will start going at it. Another thing that's really going to be an issue today that I didn't think about because I'm a dumbass is my saw for my wood is supposed to be coming today. Okay, so my hope was I could take pieces like this and cut them in half and be a little more manageable. I have a hacksaw which I've been using to cut the wood, which isn't working out too well, as you can imagine. I've been struggling. So as the fire burned on, I kept getting dirty smoke. So I had about maybe 45 minutes to an hour of, I wouldn't say like billowing dirty smoke, like billowing white smoke, but more so it was noticeable. And I still have a little bit, but I'm looking at it right now. The lights are off, and it doesn't help that I have lights over where the smoke's coming out, because that obviously enhances the look of it. But the lights are off, daylight now, sun's out. I still got a little bit of smoke, but it's not as bad as it was, I don't think. And that was one thing that was really bothering me, is that the wood was just smoldering, and I had to keep coming over here and screwing with it. Now I got a good fire burning because I'm using little pieces like this. So I should know better already that this smoker takes smaller pieces, but I'm an idiot. So once again, I'm not the most patient person sometimes. So as a result of the dirty smoke that was coming out, I really couldn't get it over, I couldn't get the temperature of the smoker over like 210. And I tried a bunch of things, and then I realized, dumbass, you're burning wood that's too big and it's just smoldering, and there was no heat being generated. So now I have the little splits of wood in there, if you will, and the fire's burning pretty well. I haven't seen any contents come out of the grease drain yet, but we got an hour and a half left before I check it and start spritzing. Another thing I noticed, going back to the video where we did the modifications, I was able to close that gap a little bit. It's still noticeable, and I don't know why it's like that still, but I was able to close it off a little bit, so that helps sort of, but I still see a lot of smoke coming out of there, so I'm sure I'm getting some heat loss from that, which sort of blows. Once again, not sure why that's happening. I have a feeling it has something to do with the silicone I put on, and eventually I might just have to rip it off. I did sand down some of the parts of the gasket that were on there, just to sort of try to close the areas up at the top, but I don't understand. And if anyone's out there that has put this gasket on, any smoker, can you please let me know in the comments if you're watching this what you did, because I can't figure it out. Like for this particular smoker, it just didn't work for me, I guess. So maybe I should have waited. Something to keep in mind. And we're getting some dirty smoke again, so I'm gonna push this around a little bit. I noticed that I am burning through a good amount of wood. I've gone through about 7 pieces in an hour and a half. Actually, that's not true. I've gone through 7 pieces since I started the smoker, which probably been about 2.5 hours, because it took about an hour to get the smoker to temp. And we are running at about 250, which is where we want to be. For a long time, I was running at 200, like I said, so that's sort of refreshing. So we'll give this another 1.5 hours, and I will check back in and show you what we're working with. Okay, everyone, we are just about at the 3-hour mark, and I'm starting this a little early because I want to try something, and this might be the dumbest thing I've ever done. We're going to see. I've noticed that with the firebox, with that ashtray catcher thing, I keep having to move the logs around because they're just not staying lit, because the bed of coals is falling down below the ashtray. And you would think that just the ashes would fall, but it seems that if you look in the firebox, most of the ashes are down below, and that's why the logs aren't necessarily staying lit. If we take a peek down here below, you can see there's a hot bed of coals, and as soon as I move these around, they're going to fall down there with the rest of them. So I think, since we're so close to the 3-hour mark, I'm going to try to take that out right now and probably burn my foot off. This tray's working out pretty well, actually. I've had to fill it twice now. I'm just going to throw this over here. See if I can get these logs out. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Carefully. I've got flip-flops on too. Pretty smart. Alright, now hopefully we got some dirty smoke there, obviously. We can get some new wood to light. Almost just burned my bald head. We're just going to let those go as we check on our meat. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. It's about 3 hours. Ooh, that's looking nice. That is looking nice. Got some fat rendering down. Crust is looking good. Bottom looks a little darker, but not too bad. Definitely darker toward the flat. Like I said, my hope is that the dirty smoke didn't fuck it up. Just going to spritz it down to keep it moist. Once again, that's apple juice and water, 50-50 blend. I'm really hoping the dirty smoke didn't screw it, because I didn't have it for that long, maybe an hour. It wasn't that dirty, but you never know. All right, let's close this sucker back up. Silicone seems to be holding up well. Now let's get this fire going. There we go. There's something. Burning somewhat clean right now. I think I'm going to put the grill grate back in, fill it with water, and see how we go. See how we do. And I'll check back. Our temperature dropped a lot, obviously. I'll check back within maybe a few hours, and we'll see how we're doing. See that right there? That smoke. To be honest, that's probably the cleanest smoke I've had in the last 3 hours since we last talked. This has been a huge nightmare, but a learning experience. So we're at the 6-hour mark. It's 9 a.m. Like I said, a lot has happened. First thing, I don't regret taking that grate out. It's actually worked much better, in my personal opinion. However, getting to the point where it was working well was the complete nightmare. I've also learned that I need to wait before I decide to do things. This would have been nice with a saw that's coming today. These pieces I've been using, general rule of thumb, if it can fit into your door like this, it's okay to use. These are right on the edge, 16 inches, just about. And they are not burning as evenly as I would hoped. So that is causing a major issue. The grate, when I took that out, I put some logs on. It took a while. The smoker was running beautifully before that, and not saying that I screwed it up by taking that out. I screwed it up because I took it out when I did. So I had to open up the firebox because the smoke was dirty. We went down to about 180-ish in the cooker, and it took me about 20 minutes to get the fire going again. I basically put the fire out. So once we got that going again, I used some small pieces. It worked pretty well. And then it was burning clean. It looked great. And then when I went to put more wood on, because we were once again maintaining temp around 250, I haven't been able to get it back up to 250 since. I went back down to like 180, 175. I've been hovering around 200 this entire time, and I'm getting extremely aggravated because the smoke has been probably 20% of the time clean. Otherwise, it hasn't been like billowing white disgustingness, but it has not been what I would call good. I also want to bring your attention to the grease bucket. And that's pretty black, and that sort of concerns me. If I were to guess, I would say this brisket is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be extremely smoky, extremely bitter, and extremely disgusting. But we'll wait for the taste test for that. I also put in my thermometer probe, and we're at 154. When I first put it in 3 hours ago, we were hovering around 130-ish. Another thing is the smoke smells disgusting. I figured, smoke that is good for your meat would smell good. So that's the other thing that's sort of making me nervous, is that it just doesn't smell good. It smells like I'm burning plastic in my smoker. And the wood's not wet. It's just, for whatever reason, when I put in that log after I took the grate out, it just would not catch. It was smoldering and smoldering and smoldering. And for whatever reason, these logs they're fine, but they're just not really lighting as fast as I would want them to. There's a look inside the box. And I'm trying to burn that one down as much as I can. The bed of coals is working out a lot better, I think. And why not ruin everything else and open this up? I mean, it's looking great, but it's just not cooking to the temperature I want it to. I want it to be at 250, and it's just not happening. So I don't know if I really need to spray it or not, but I'm going to. So my hope is in about 3 hours maybe, which will bring us to 9 hours, that'll be noon, I can wrap it, but we'll see what happens. At this point, I'm not really sure. I'm just going to keep screwing my fire. We're down to 175 again because I opened it, but I'm just going to keep screwing my fire and see if I can get it to actually burn at some point today. And hopefully I get my saw here so I can actually cut some pieces up before this meal is completely ruined. But let's stay positive, right? All right, well, we're at 9 hours now, and we're still not done. Go figure. Sort of planned that. So we are at 171 internal temperature. So we are probably just about at the hold, maybe surpassing it. I'm not sure. I was at 165 for probably about 20 minutes. And I got the fire burning much hotter than it was before. I'm at 225, fluctuating between, actually I'm at 230. Fluctuating between 225 and 250 for the most part. The last 3 hours were probably the most stressful. Right after I recorded the last part, the fire went out, basically. I put a new log on, and the coals just decided to go out. So I basically had to restart the fire. Kayla was inside watching me from the window, having basically a mental breakdown. And how I was able to do that was I just got some small pieces of chips that I had and just threw them on. Now, as you saw before, I have these big pieces. I still don't have my saw, which is fine. That's what the firebox is looking like. Looks pretty crappy. As you can see here, the smoke is not as clean as I would like it to be, still. But I will say it's not as bad as it was. So the general rule of thumb is you let your wood burn down to coals before you put more on. And I could not get this thing over 200 doing that. Because A, I couldn't get it started. B, it was just smoldering. So something's up with this wood. I'm not sure. Obviously, it's too big. I need to be cutting it in half and splitting it. But I don't know if it's wet or something, which doesn't really make any sense because it's been undercover for a week now. It hasn't rained. So it was just really smoldering, and I needed to get a hot fire going, and so I just loaded the firebox up and tried my best. I will say I've already declared this brisket a failure. Like, there's no doubt in my mind it's a failure because we've had not clean smoke for the majority of the cook. It's going to taste like crap, but it's a learning experience. So we're winging it and going with it. So I'm going to keep monitoring the fire here. I just opened it up a little while ago to spritz it, so I don't really want to open it again. So we'll give it another maybe 20, 30 minutes, and we should be past the hold. I'm hoping by then. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's where we're at. Well, I was right on the money. I said 20 minutes to a half hour, and it has been a half hour, and we are at 180. We're at 180 in the point, and then we're at 192 in the flat. So we're ready to wrap. It's a 10-degree difference. It's not too bad. Fire's getting a little better, I guess. Let's take a look at this bad boy. It's not looking bad. There's not really a crust that I was looking for, unfortunately. You got some stuff. Maybe the bottom will be, but that's all the rendered fat up top. It's coming along nicely, as you can see the juices coming out there. Oh, right. That's a juicy boy. Yeah, I just used my gloves here to haul him away. Yeah, he's smells delicious, actually. Definitely a smoky smell to it, as you would expect. All right, it's my first time doing this. No clue. Okay. I'm trying to wrap it as tight as I possibly can. All right. That's a terrible wrap, but whatever. All right, I'm going to put it down this way. Nope. Probably shouldn't have done that. It can stay like that. And put my probes in. All right, and now it's the easy part. We don't have to worry about the fire anymore, which is probably going to be fine now, because guess what Kayla's been putting together? Our nice handsaw that we got. Yeah, I didn't spend $300 on a saw because I don't care. We will check back in an hour or two. And just like I estimated, we're burning a clean fire now. I have the firebox open because this thing went over 300. So I'm trying to really cool it down because we had a really good fire, and yeah. And I have a 20-degree difference between the point and the flat, which sort of sucks. Not sure how to handle that. I'm just going to let this burn for a little bit open because this is way too hot. Well, that's perfect temperature now. So it's been a very long day. It's hot out here. Of course, I'm in direct sunlight, basically, and I have this thing behind me. So, good news is, the brisket should be done, hopefully, in the next, 2 hours. Maybe? What time is it now? It's almost 3 o'clock, so we're about 12 hours in. Pretty cool. I have some friends coming over who will subject themselves to trying this with me, so that should be entertaining. Like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit too bitter and not good. And I'm very sorry for squinting, but I have sweat in my eyes, and oh my God, I'm tired. So, things I learned today, I sort of just wanted to go over real quick so you don't make the same mistakes if you're new like me. First thing is make sure your wood is good. Not that my wood isn't good, but make sure it's for the smoker. You know, I used some big pieces, and that really screwed me today. The next thing is I think I might try that ashtray thing again. And if you're not a fan of it, don't take it out in the middle of the smoke because you'll screw yourself. Looking at the brisket, I didn't have a very good bark on it, in my opinion. There was some on the underside because that obviously was exposed to the heat more, I would say. I think the heat from this comes from more of the bottom. The top had basically no bark whatsoever. I mean, it was juicy and it had a little bit of crunch that I could tell, but it wasn't like a nice crisp bark. So good news is it's not overcooked. Bad news is I sort of like the bark. So, but the fat looked to be rendering down perfectly. And the main thing is it going to have a bitter smoky flavor to it, which I'm sure it will. So I think next time there are a few things I'm going to do differently. A, like I said, wood. B, I'm going to start my fire before I do anything with the brisket. Before I want to get that coal bed going. And that's one thing I just didn't do because I didn't think it was that complicated, which I learned the hard way, obviously today, that you need a good coal bed going before you start cooking something. I still need to look at these gaskets on here. There's still a shit ton of stuff leaking out. So I don't know what the deal with that is. Another thing I learned, don't buy a $100 brisket to be your first brisket. I wasn't smart. And last but not least, I guess, just patience. You know, it's my first time. I'm upset that it's probably going to turn out like crap. I know that most people's first brisket turns out like crap. So I'm not like upset that I'm the only one that's ever done that. But I just didn't really expect today to go the way it did. I expected a little bit better luck. Not to be perfect, but issues with the fire I didn't really expect as much as I had. So yeah, things to learn for next time, I guess. So we're going to keep going at it. Still 20 degrees off, so should be done in another 2 hours maybe, and hopefully we don't burn the crap out of the flat. Okay, moment of truth. We were at 207 at the point and 210 at the flat. Time to take it off. And the fire's dying down, so it's working out. And that's what we're left with. Let's take it off and bring it in. All right, this bad boy's on the counter. I think I need to move this foil out a little bit. There we go. Yeah, as it sticks to the foil, that's always good. All right. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you want to push that foil in for me? Don't stand in front of the camera though. I need them to see. Oh, that's hot. So hot. Well, that is the most half-ass fucking foil job I've ever seen. Next step, a towel. This is my towel, actually. That's about to get covered in. You got the pink towel? I got the pink towel. It's my favorite color. And it's in a cooler for 2 hours. The moment of truth will soon come. So do we just start having sex, or how's this work?
Yeah, that's how.
Rob, if it's with the brisket, what the fuck is that?
Rob got cheese everywhere.
Okay, this thing is extremely tender. We just tried to take it out to put it on a pan and it didn't work out too well. So we're just gonna go for it. Cut it up, taste test it. We have all of our good friends here tonight. And yeah, it's falling apart. One thing to note, the bark is not very much there at all. This is the fat side, I believe, but it's falling apart. So let's see what we can do with this.
Three hours later.
Yeah, no shit, right? This is annoying as shit. I think I need the other knife. You want to hand me the red knife? Wow. There's a big
raw part?
No. So that's the. This is where the. That's the flat. This is the point. This is where the point begins.
Oh, that's beautiful right in.
A little bit of fat there. All right, I think at this point everybody can try a piece.
Oh, real small, so we grab with the
So this in here.
Oh God, that's hot.
That rendered down all right. All right. So
Can I take some more?
trying the.
Well, they're not wet.
Well, that's a little dry, I would say. But it's good peppery taste. Not smoky. Not smoky as enough.
On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best.
As far as what comparison?
Tasting brisket.
Ooh.
6. Maybe a
A
7.
hard 6.
6.9.
Oh, now I'm getting the after flavors.
Oh, does that bring it up to a 7?
What do you think? How do you feel about that?
That's good flavor.
Not a lot of smoke on the initial, but mixed with the fat, real juicy.
Yeah.
Knowing you probably put fucking 3 pounds of pepper on it. Which is
Well, yeah,
good.
yeah. So basically, it doesn't have a bitter taste, which is cool. I would say, which I was really concerned about. That's why I said it was ruined to begin with. I'd eat it. It's obviously not my best, but for my first time, I'm not really that upset.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Like I said, a little mustard or horseradish.
Yeah.
It tastes like a brisket. It's good.
The fat, this fat didn't render down that well, but
Is that coleslaw?
I don't know. I'm not upset. We'll see what Kayla thinks when she gets home.
It's gone.
It's gone. And it's gone. Been a long day. Thank you for watching another episode of Tubby Time. If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, comment. What are you doing?
My plate broke.
Oh. And we will see you next time on an episode that's not about smoking foods, probably, because I need to figure my shit out. Thanks for watching. Take care, and
Tubby on.
Tubby on. Yeah, there we go.
That's how the cookie crumbles.